A young woman stood at the window of her room, listening intently to the birds tweeting outside. It was then she noticed that the chirping of the birds didn't seem like sweet music anymore. She furrowed her brows and tried to make out what they were saying, but instead of singing, all she heard was an unpleasant ringing. Confused, she went to see her doctor. When he examined her ears, his face fell. "I'm sorry, but you have lost your hearing," he said, breaking the news to her. As if a bomb had gone off, the words echoed in her head. She couldn't believe it. She was only 22. How could she go deaf? The doctor said there was nothing he could do and offered her a sympathy-filled smile. "At least you are young. You can still lead a normal life." His words did little to alleviate the despair she felt. She was a composer, a pianist who earned her living by creating soundtracks for TV commercials. Music was her entire world. Without it, she would be nothing. As days turned into weeks, she became more and more depressed. Even the memory of her parents, who had died when she was just a child, couldn't cheer her up. Looking at the piano in the corner of her room, she saw her whole life pass before her eyes. It had been love at first sight when she had seen the instrument for the first time. At the age of 5, she had sat down at the piano and played a song. Ever since then, everything she had learned in life revolved around music. Now her whole future seemed dark and hopeless. Was she fated to live a meaningless existence from now on? Should she give up on life itself? But then something remarkable happened. She went to the bathroom one day to wash her face and accidentally touched the water running from the tap with her elbow. She gasped. She could feel the water in her arm. At that moment, it dawned on her that she wasn't really hearing the sounds around her, but rather feeling the vibrations that these sounds created in the air through her bones and her body. She closed her eyes and listened intently to the water running through the pipes. Suddenly, she was no longer surrounded by silence, but by a multitude of sounds. The gushing of the water, the humming of the refrigerator, even the ticking of the clock on the wall. She could feel every sound in her body, and so she discovered a completely new way of experiencing the world. Overjoyed, she ran back to her piano and sat down. Her hands hovered over the keys as she struggled to find the right notes. But as soon as she pressed the first key, a smile spread across her face. She could feel the sound in her entire body. Tears welled up in her eyes. For the first time in weeks, she laughed out loud, tears streaming down her face. For a while, she played old pieces by Bach and Mozart, Beethoven and Chopin. Then she began composing her own songs. Now she no longer composed music. She created sound pictures, symphonies of feelings. In addition to her piano, she also used a laptop and a digital audio workstation. With the help of modern technology, she was able to produce soundscapes that had never been heard before, and her music touched people all over the world. They didn't know exactly why, but her compositions evoked strong emotions in them. There was something unique about them, something deeply moving. And so it came that despite her disability, she continued to work as a freelance composer and even got a job writing soundtracks for films. One day she received an email from a famous director. He had heard one of her pieces and loved it. Would she be interested in writing the soundtrack for his new movie? Over the moon, she accepted the offer. She worked day and night on the film score and poured all her feelings into it. Meanwhile, the director had no idea that the woman he had hired was deaf. When he met her at the premiere of the film, he was deeply moved. He shook her hand and thanked her for the wonderful music she had created. "You have a gift, my dear," he said. "You don't need to hear anything to make beautiful music. You feel it." These words made her very happy. One evening, as she was alone in her apartment and playing the piano, she suddenly stopped. Her thoughts drifted to the doctor who had diagnosed her. How could she have been so sure that she would never hear again? Perhaps she could still hear something, she thought. Maybe not the birds tweeting outside her window, but maybe other sounds, the rustling of leaves, the babbling of a brook. Excited, she went to the window and closed her eyes. What she heard took her breath away. The wind was whispering through the trees, telling her secrets she had never known before. She could hear the water running down the gutter and the distant rumble of thunder. A wide smile spread across her face. She was hearing more than ever before, not with her ears, but with her soul. Then she began to compose music unlike anything she had ever written before. She called it Symphony of Silence. It told the story of a young woman who had lost her hearing, but found a new way to experience the world. The piece was a huge success. Critics and audiences alike were stunned by its originality and emotional depth. Many people who had never experienced hearing loss before could relate to the piece and felt deeply moved by it. Soon she was asked to perform the Symphony of Silence all over the world. She traveled to the most famous concert halls and conducted major orchestras. Every time she stepped onto the podium, the audience rose to their feet and cheered. She took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and let the music flow through her body. She could feel the vibrations of the instruments, the strings, the brass, the percussion, and she could hear the music in her soul. Through her music, she managed to convey a message of hope to millions of people around the world. She showed them that even if something bad happens to us, we must not give up. Instead, we should look for other ways to achieve our goals. No matter how difficult it may seem at times, we must never lose faith in ourselves. As her fame grew, so did her fortune. She no longer had to worry about money and could afford to buy whatever she wanted. But despite her success, she remained the same humble person she had always been. She didn't forget where she came from or how hard she had to fight to get where she is today. One day, she was giving a master class to a group of young musicians when one of them asked her, "How can we succeed in life if we have to overcome great difficulties?" She smiled and replied, "Obstacles are like notes in music. On their own, they mean nothing, but when we put them together in the right order, they create a symphony." The students looked at her in amazement. They had never thought of it that way before. After the lesson, one of the young men approached her and asked, "Do you think I can become a famous musician too?" "Of course you can," she said with a wink. "All you have to do is follow your heart and never give up." The young man thanked her for her advice and went on his way. As she watched him go, she thought to herself that the world is full of opportunities. We just have to be open to them and not let anything stop us from pursuing our dreams. She knew that her story could inspire millions of people around the world. She had shown them that even if we lose our hearing, we can still make beautiful music. All we have to do is find a different way to experience the world. So if you are facing a challenge in your life, remember the story of the silent composer. Don't let it defeat you. Instead, use it as an opportunity to grow and become stronger. Who knows? Maybe you will create something beautiful out of it. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. If this story moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring journeys. Remember, your challenges can be the music that drives your success.